What is up, everybody? It's Die Hard here. We're going to start a couple of minutes early. So, we're going to get right into it. The match you guys are going to see is Daniel Bryan and CM Punk. They're going to kind of tangle here while I do this little podcast talking about, what's happening, right? Like, earlier this week, I'm just going to get right into it. Earlier this week, I uploaded a video called The Teaser, and it allowed everybody to kind of get their own idea of what to expect, or what was gonna happen. And so that's what the idea of this podcast is. I had kind of planned on just making a video regarding it, but I'm gonna do a podcast instead because I like doing that. And so we're gonna get right into it. So the last time we had a show, like a full show that had a storyline and everything to it, was TPP Endgames, and that was October 29th or 28th. That was the the beard, yes, the beard, the best in the beard. But yeah, so it was October 28th or 29th, somewhere in that stretch. It was the final week of October, and we were going to go on a hiatus until January. But some things happened in between then and now. Some of the bigger things were, I said I was going to do a Christmas show, and I put that together in I think a day and a half or something. I don't know. It was like 18 or 19 hours. Did this full show and all that good stuff, and it was fun. Like, the Christmas show was fun. There was no storyline element to it or anything, and we had people on the show that weren't actually a part of our roster. And then I announced a CAW award ceremony. I put up the nominees, and that's kind of when shit hit the fan. Excuse my language. I know I said on Scout's Honor I was going to try my best to, watch. Oh, the 28th was the date of Endgames. But I know I said I was going to try to watch my language, and I do apologize. But, it was like Christmas Eve when everything started going down. So I stepped away for a little bit. Some other stuff happened, which doesn't really need repeating. And so it kind of brought us to here because I was like, man, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do a show. And the more I kept telling myself I don't think I want to do a show, it's doing a show is fun. Like, you get a really fun kind of good feeling when you take, the WWE games and you're like, oh man, I get to control the aspects of what happens. I can, help my friends, do really good, or, things like that. And I've met some really cool people, and I've met some not so cool people, and I'll tell you that a million times. Some of the coolest people I've met are people that I worked with within, the past year. And so that leads into this. Like, I uploaded this video called The Teaser, and it was kind of showcasing some of the old guys that wrestled on Frontline, as well as a couple of people that haven't been seen anywhere else. And so it's a bit jumpy. It shouldn't be. That means that your computer is crap, McNabb. That's what that means. Or you've got too many things running. But anyways, so I uploaded this video called The Teaser, and the teaser was left up for interpretation of, whatever you thought it would be. And so that's where we are at this point. What was this teaser? What was it going to be? What did people think it was going to be? Some thought that it was going to be from the tryouts. Some thought it was going to be some weird stuff. And so I'm going to keep the match going. The match is going to keep going, but I'm going to show you guys the result of what the teaser actually was, because it wasn't really specified. So the teaser actually was a teaser talking about when it was returning. And as you see on your screen at this point in time, hopefully, it says March 5th. And you look at the calendar and you're like, man, it's the 19th. You got to wait a little bit, just a little bit longer. But it will be streamed live right here on Twitch at TPP Frontline. It'll be right here. And but yeah, I mean, there's a couple of people that you may not recognize, namely that big dude in the back there on the left-hand side, the guy on the far right, you may not recognize him. The fourth guy from the left, you may not recognize him, or the fifth guy, or the guy that's right in the front there in the right-hand corner. You may not recognize those people, and that's okay, because that's what we do in TPP. We definitely help you to see people that you wouldn't normally see, or you get to know these other people. And that kind of leads me into my next part that I want to talk about. People had questions, a lot of questions. I remember when I uploaded the video, I looked on my Xbox, and there was like 8 or 9 different messages, and they all kind of had these weird questions about the show. I had questions like, tryouts and all kinds of, whack-tacular stuff. And so I'm going to answer that this way. So I hand-selected the people I wanted to work with. And as much as I hate to say this to some people that were tryouts, if you weren't contacted, then you just weren't chosen. Unfortunately, I don't want to. Confusion isn't my best word, or the best way for me to do this, because I'm very straightforward when it comes to stuff like that, and I'm not saying that I didn't enjoy you or your tryout match that you did. However, I chose the people I wanted to work with for a reason. These are people I trust, people that when the crap hit the fan, they either stayed completely neutral or did not get involved in situations, which is, that's fine for me. I'm more than content and happy with that. But at this time, we're going to go back to the match. I think everybody's seen this long enough. They know March 5th, 8 p.m. Eastern. Of course, I'll upload other videos to remind people. And look at CM Punk here. He's getting his ass whooped by Daniel Bryan. Here we go. This is the WrestleMania match everybody wanted, right? An Iron Man match. Falls count anywhere. No disqualification. You can't get better than that, right? All right. Anyways, so we back to the reason why I chose who I chose and how I chose them. Like I said, they were people I trust, people that I know I want to work with. And I can say it like this. When you see Frontline again, yeah, trust is probably one of the most crucial things, to running anything. You have to be able to trust the people you're working with, no matter what. And the people I'm working with are people I trust. I mean, I've met some cool people that I trusted before, and I thought Daniel Bryan and CM Punk were going to be like a 55-minute glitch right there. But I've met some really cool people, like I said, but I've also met people that were just as two-faced as, like a hooker looking for crack. So, it's kind of like, it's tough. It's a very tough decision to make when you have, 30 people that say, hey, I want to be a part of this. And they can't, because you have whatever reason for that. And then my reason is the people I'm working with are people I want to work with and people I trust and, things like that. So that's that. I can say this, though. There will not be any public tryouts. We won't be expanding in that way. It'll be based off of, people we know, people we trust. Because it's got to be it's a big trust issue, and that's kind of the moral of everything that's with TPP. I mean, we were doing fine, but we were doing fine with TPP Frontline. I think honestly, if we wouldn't have went on the hiatus, I think the show would have just continued on normally. But unfortunately, I wanted to take a little bit of time to recharge the batteries, and unfortunately, when you do that, people get misguided conceptions, and they start saying other things, and then that kind of keeps adding fuel to the fire, and things get out of hand, and things start getting crazy. And so yeah, I have a firm belief that if we had just, like after End Games, if we had followed up with a follow-up show, episode 30, that following week, nobody would have second guessed anything, and they would have just thought it was just business as usual. But like I said, taking a little bit of a break, just to recharge the batteries, come up with some new stuff, and it kind of got a little crazy. Granted, I brought on a lot of that the craziness that was happening at that point myself. I had opened up tryouts to a large public, and on top of the tryouts, we also added an additional 22 people. And we went from this 6-man operation to 30, 33 or 34, or 30. I don't know. It was somewhere in the either mid to high 30s, almost 40 people, and unfortunately, you run on batteries, mind blown. Unfortunately, when you have 30 or 40 people that have conflicting ideas of what everything should be, unfortunately, there's not too much you can do about it. You get a lot of people that are like, oh, well, I think this should happen this way, and that's great to have a creative mind and input, but some people just refuse to do certain things. And that's not good for anybody. Also, I will be taking some questions in a little bit here. This isn't going to be a super long podcast, because my son's in bed. He's got school in the morning, and then I have to take my neighbor to a place. So I'm going to put my Ask FM thing on the screen, and you guys can then, if you have questions, you can submit them to my Ask FM, and I will try to get through all the questions. I know it's a different color than what everything else is, and I hate sizing it on the fly. But anyways, so a lot of the other TPP guys had told me, they were like, man, I don't know if you should do tryouts, and I did. I went against that. I went against those that I was working with, and I was like, no, we're going to do this. We're going to get some new blood in here. Fortunately, we really didn't need it. We were doing fine as is. But anyways, so I'm looking at some of these Ask FM questions, and part of them, I feel like I'm already going to answer them, saying it. I've got a handful of questions right here, so the ones that I've already answered, I probably won't answer again. But I will take this one right here. For those who had tryouts, will they be added to the roster? Unfortunately, like I said a few minutes ago, as much as I enjoyed certain people's tryouts and the way that they did, their match and their tryouts, unfortunately, they're not, at this time, they're not people, that I elected to work with. If I wanted to work with people, I contacted them. And the people I wanted to work with have already contacted me and responded back. We're all on the same page. We know what we want to do, how we want to do it, and when we want to do it. And that's the most important part. We're all like, yeah. And I don't know if you guys see this or not, but there's this flickering red thing up in the top corner of the screen, or it was. It's not doing it anymore, but it was. It was over in the fan area. But yeah, unfortunately, that's actually going to kind of lead me into my the next question I was going to take is who we can expect to see return to TPP. Unfortunately, there will be no Orion James, and I'm assuming there will be no James Mackay. There was a brief incident with my WWE. It broke in my disc tray when I was opening it. It cracked. And then a few days later, my wife went out and picked me up a new copy because, she knows I like doing the show and stuff. And I think part of her likes having a voiceover on the show. But she rebought me 14 and stuff, so that kept the ball rolling. And at that time, Mackay was kind of like, I don't know, and he just kind of split. So I don't know. I don't know. But I do know that we won't have Orion James. There will not be a James Anderson. And I think that's about it. I mean, there's going to be some returning people that everybody knows. I mean, of course, Die Hard's going to return. It's his company. But Scythe will return, which hopefully, he can continue his dominance, James Braden, he'll be back, because he's Die Hard's brother-in-law. And then, like I said, there's going to be some new faces too, and I don't want to give away too much. I don't want to, give away who everybody's going to be. I mean, there's some people that were in the video that could easily be recognized, and I think, it's just a matter of time before, everybody sees it. And like I said, I'm just going to quick bring it back over to the screen again. March 5th at 8 p.m. Eastern, we'll be live on Twitch. That'll be the first return episode. We're going to restart our episode count, just because it's not that it's a fresh beginning or a brand new beginning. It's just, we're going to restart the count. We went, 29 episodes week after week after week after week, and people were tuning in every week. And so that was probably one of the greatest feelings ever. And before I go any further, I'm going to switch it back to the stream here while I talk about that. But the greatest feeling ever. Now, when I've read some stuff that people have said, and people have said I was a spotlight hog or a glory hog, stuff like this. Here's the thing. When anybody makes a show, you're not making it to have, a million people watch it. If that happens, great. But in all honesty, I've been making wrestling shows, like wrestling-based shows, for, I don't know. I'm 26 now, so I started my first recorded wrestling show was with, like, this old school, like, if you think of, like, those news style, like, cameras, that's how, like, the first ever stuff was recorded. Like, that's how me and my buddy recorded, like, us playing. I remember it was either WWF Warzone or WWF Attitude, and it was on the Nintendo 64, because I had a PlayStation 1, and he had a Nintendo 64 at the time, and I remember it was either I think it was Attitude, because it had Owen Hart in it, and it was the tribute. Yeah, it was Attitude. So we were doing, like, these matches, and if you ever played WWF Attitude or Warzone, you know how horrible it was. Like, it was horrible. But we had, like, these created wrestlers and stuff, and we were, like, doing, like, our own like, we would, record it with the camcorder and then overdub and do, like, this whole, commentary thing. And these were like 3-hour, like, segment shows. We'd make his parents, like, sit down and watch, and I'm talking about, like, my best friend. He was my childhood friend when I was growing up. And, I think he still likes wrestling. I don't know. I mean, he lives in Texas now, and I still live in Michigan. So, but when people say that I'm a glory hog or a spotlight hog, I don't make the wrestling show to, and CM Punk is, like, glitched if you don't notice that. But I don't make the wrestling show for other people to view. I make it to entertain me. And are they going to be stuck here in, like, a 50-minute or 45-minute thing? What are they doing here? What are they doing? They're like, this is one of the downsides to WWE 2K14. As you see, they're kind of, like, stuck here. Oh, okay, there we go. I don't know what that was. But anyways, so I make the shows because I enjoy making them. That's why I make wrestling shows. I enjoy wrestling. I've been a wrestling fan my entire life. I was a wrestling fan before I met Chris Jericho when I was 10 years old. I was a wrestling fan before then, and it's grown over the years. I'm even a fan of, yeah, exactly. Yeah, my best friend's parents, they probably hated us for that. We were doing, like, the backyard wrestling thing too, and we'd make them watch those. Yeah, it was pretty intense. I mean, granted, Christopher Billings wasn't, like, my commentator name. I was just me, like Tony. And so, I don't know. His parents were really supportive, and they were like, oh, that was great, although it probably sucked. And then, I don't know. Like I said, I mean, I've been doing wrestling shows for a really, really long time. Longer than I care to admit sometimes. But the YouTube stuff, like, that's cool. But like I said, I don't make the wrestling shows just for YouTube. Like, I make them for my own enjoyment, and that's what makes it magical, and that's when that you're having fun doing it. And that's why, like I said, that's why maybe I keep coming back to it. I'll take a little bit of time off, but I'll come back to it because I really, really enjoy wrestling. I've always been a big wrestling fan my entire life. I've always been intrigued by the art of, how to make yourself look good, make your opponent look good, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's just, I don't know, something, the story element and the acting and the cinematics and everything. And the video game just kind of gives you a different medium to do it. If I wasn't doing it with an HD capture card, I'd probably still be doing it with like a camcorder. I'm not even going to lie. And it might not be in a game. Like if wrestling games had never really taken off like with the online play aspect, I'd still do them offline. I mean, that's the thing. Like I said, I enjoy wrestling, and that's why I do the show. So if I'm a glory hog for enjoying wrestling and enjoying making my show, then glory hog me up, because it's just the way it is. But anyway, so we're gonna move on from that one. I don't know. I've been doing wrestling shows since like '99. I guess that would be about the time. So I was about 10 or I think 11, something like that. I don't know. It's been a long time, and it spanned from the PlayStation 1 to the Nintendo 64 to the PS2 to the GameCube to the original Xbox, the 360 now. I've done it on the PS3. So many places. So many places I've done shows throughout, so much time. Even the real life stuff. So it's just kind of, it's fun. It's fun for me. I really enjoy wrestling. And CM Punk is being a little bitch right now against Daniel Bryan, but he's still winning. The best in the world versus the Beard, right? Oh, quick roll up. All right, so somebody had asked, when will TPP shut down again? I just want to get to this one real quick. Honestly, I couldn't tell you. Like I said, like I just got done saying, I'm a big wrestling fan. I've been a wrestling fan my entire life. My entire life is based off of, wrestling pretty much. I've always loved it. When I was younger, at the time when I was growing up, WCW and stuff was still in business. So if we couldn't go to see Raw, we could see WCW at the LC Walker Arena, like 3 times a year. So that was my thing. That was definitely a glitch right there on CM Punk's leg. But when will TPP shut down again? I don't know. I mean, it comes to this, like, at this point, at this juncture, I would say that I don't think TPP will go on to next gen or 2K15. And all that's left is the show on computers. And I've actually done one for with the M. Dickey games. I didn't submit it to their that was actually really cool animation with the bulldog on the steps there from CM Punk. But I've done one with the M. Dickey game, but it didn't work so good because at the time I had a really bad computer and Fraps was doing really bad. But anyways, so when will TP? I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if I'll go next gen on the 2K15 unless I see something really mind blowing. I mean, I'll give you the short and skinny here. I purchased KG's paint tool editor on 2K14 so I can import paint tools. I then, I had, his tool got hacked, so people were like, "Oh, we're out our $20, whatever we paid for it." I was able to get my money back because I know how to, word shit. So I got my money back for it. Picked up the hack tool. Unfortunately, the WWE games have become stagnant. And you can only do so much. I mean, it's just then it literally becomes who you work with. Are those people going to be able to keep their minds expanding and creating, new and different things? And that's always been the big that's been the big TPP thing. And right now, this may be kind of like a shot at other people. I don't know. You can take it as a shot. You can take it not as a shot. It's up to you. But one thing I've always been able to stay true to is my name. I've never changed who I was. I've always been diehard, and I've always been in relation to TPP. The power plant has always been my show name. Even when I was involved in other shows, I've always been TPP. I've always been proud of where I began. And I don't know, maybe that's bad. I don't know. Because if you look on YouTube, this is one thing I'll never do. I will never, ever, ever remove history. Anything that's happened in TPP, it is still there. Unless, no. I've never actually had a video removed, without fighting it. So, on YouTube, right now, we would be considered the oldest running league. Because we have videos dating back to 2009. So, that's just the way it is. I made the Power Plant 2010 channel in, I think, September, October of 2009, and I called it the Power Plant 2010, and we were still playing on SmackDown vs. Raw 2007, and so November 19th of 2009 was the official launch of the Power Plant. That was the launch, was November 19th, and it's just continuous since then. I've never removed videos if so and so got mad at so and so. The shows have always been there. Commentary or not, they've always been there. And that's one thing I'm proud of. I never ever get rid of my history. I stand firm behind what I have. I always have and I always will. And it's just the way it is. But yeah, so I don't know. When will TPP shut down again? Couldn't tell you, because I run on batteries and your mind will be blown. And that's something I've always taken pride with, is the continuity and the security I have with myself. I've always been very comfortable saying I'm diehard and I run TPP. So, it is what it is. Haters are going to hate, right? Here's a good one. How regular will the shows be? I'm kind of in, excuse me, I got to get a drink real quick. Excuse me. How regular will the shows be? I don't know. This is a tough one. This is putting me on the spot. I probably should have skipped this question because I don't know yet. When we were on WWE 13, when we relaunched in, I think, May or April or something, we were weekly, every single week, never missed a beat. And I'm going to tell you guys a quick little story here. My internet was turned off, right? It was turned off because of some drunk-ass dude. And plus, I was a little late on my bill, but I was going over to my mom's house and uploading the shows, and we were streaming the shows from McDonald's, and nobody ever knew. And then there was a weekend I went up to my dad's house, but we never missed a beat. Even when we had no access, they had no direct access to me, we still never missed a beat. The shows still went up on time, and things just worked out. It was a very good feeling, and that was doing it weekly. I wanna say that Frontline is gonna be weekly, but I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll do it bi-weekly or as I do them. But if we do it weekly, it will be every Wednesday night. It won't be Thursdays anymore. It'll be every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. I figure that's a day that isn't too much going on with the wrestling. Although I think main event happens on Wednesdays. I'm not sure, but more than likely, more details to come on that. I'll let YouTube know for sure, and you guys will know that come to the live stream. You'll know, after that first episode, you'll be told. So, how often and how regular will the show be? I don't know yet. It's a tough one. It's hard for me to not say weekly, but it's also hard for me to say weekly because I don't know. There's part of me that wants to say, yeah, we're going to be weekly always. It's tough, but we've been doing a weekly show since 2009, and sometimes you get tired of doing a weekly show. So you never know. I'll let you know, though. I'll let you know for sure. All right. How will the storylines work? Can you give us details? Well, I think, in my honest opinion, or not even an opinion, this is how it's going to work. We're going to continue some old storylines, and we're also adding new storylines, because we got to work these new characters in, but we're also flirting with the idea of the old storylines, because there was certain storylines that were closed off, but we still, had ideas for them to extend them, and we still want to make those happen. And, those people know what that's going to be. They know who's involved and, what the outcome's going to be. So, yeah, it's going to be a mix of old and new, and it's going to be fun. It's always a good fun time, especially on our live streams. I think we're the only league that actually interacts with people when we're streaming the shows, like when we're streaming them live. Because one of the coolest things is, when I do this, when I started streaming, I was like, man, it's so cool trying to watch it as a viewer, and getting all excited, because I'm not saying that I'm the best at exciting people. I'm not implying that. I'm not saying that. But I think I did a pretty good job of getting people motivated to watch the show, especially when they were on the stream. I mean, our chat stream was always booming, and I'd carry on conversations with people. I'd get into character of like a production crew guy and all kinds of stuff. And it was just fun. And at the end of the day, I think people knew that it was just me, just trying to it's not that I was trying to go the extra mile or that extra inch. It was just, I don't know, I enjoy doing it. I like watching my own show as a spectator. There's nothing wrong with that. If you can watch your show 100 times and still be able to watch it 101st time, and not cringe, then you're okay, and I've recorded shows where I cringed, by the time the first match was, and I've had people in parties and I was like, oh, I can't believe I did this. I can't believe I did this show. But, it's just kind of, also, just in case everybody's wondering, one person I do know is coming back. Actually, I think he's in the room with me right now. He's got okay. Hey, everybody, it's Jerry Graham. Okay, so yeah, Jerry Graham is apparently, it's gonna be on. That's an inside joke. That's an inside joke. I'm Jerry Graham. That's. But yeah. So, how will the storylines work? There's gonna be new stuff, old stuff, and everything in between. I mean, we're gonna have fun with it, and that's the most important thing, is to have fun with it. And in that same sense, this is kind of going, like, I've had people kind of attack me based on the number of views I get on my show, and things like that. And this kind of stretches back to, I don't make the show for others, I make it for me. I'm not denying that. I definitely make the show for myself, I would be lying if I said I didn't, because I'm so conceited. I literally put it on my TV, I stretch my display over to my main TV, we'll go full screen, and I'll sit down and watch it. I love it. I love trying to pick apart things, It's like I'm a mark for my own show, and I'm okay with that. I am more than okay with that. And, yeah, so like I was saying, I may not be the best at motivating people, and I may make my show just for me, but it doesn't, like, at the end of the day, every single view that I get, whether it's 1 view, 100 views, 1,000 views, 1,000,000 views, 10 views, whatever. Even if only one person watches my show, I feel like I owe them something. It's like, wow, I can't believe, so-and-so watched my show, because they didn't have to. They could have just, went about their way and watched a different show, but they stopped and they watched. And I look at our average retention, and it's extremely high. And I just, I'm blown away by that. I mean, like right now, okay, I'm going to look at my most viewed video. Or the most viewed show. Our most viewed show was Network Collision, which aired September 23rd, I believe. September 24th. Let me check. I can tell you for sure. It was actually September 28th. That doesn't seem right. I don't know. Is it 28th or something? I don't know. It's at the end of September. It was our most viewed show. And I was like, we only got 314 views on the show. But I was just blown away. Just the fact that people were like, hey, I really like this. I was happy. Every time that happens. Like when I first upload a show, I don't expect to get views. Like if somebody says, oh, well, your show's not going to get any views because you shut down TPP, you brought back TPP, vice versa, and all this and that. Honestly, I'm okay with that. If I only get 1 view or no views, I'm still okay with that. It's still going to be there, whenever they decide they want to watch it. At the end of the day, it will still be there. They can watch it whenever. And, yeah, Scythe and James Mackay put on hella good matches, especially at Network Collision and at Endgames. Like, their matches were just, those 2 matches themselves were worth the render time, the upload times. They were worth the 30 gig upload file size. So those two matches that those guys had were just amazing. But anyways, like I was saying, one view, 100,000, million, whatever, doesn't matter. I mean, I'm pretty sure, based on how many subscribers we have, we average at least 100 views per show. But at the end of the day, it's not about how many views you get. It's about, do you enjoy what you do? And that's something I've always held very near to myself, near and dear. And I get people that say, oh, well, your show is shit, or the cause on your show are shit, this is shit, that shit, this is shit, that shit. Honestly, this is what I'll say to you. You don't have to watch the video. I mean, there's no law of inertia or law of physics that says you have to click on TPP Frontline. I mean, I understand. When you watch a wrestling show, it always shows up as a featured video. Probably because there's like 200 some odd episodes of it out there, spanning from the Power Plant 2010 to TPP 2K to the TPP Frontline channel. So yeah, there's a large portion of TPP Frontline videos out there. A lot of them. I understand that. But like I said, I mean, if there's something you don't like, you don't have to watch it, that's all I can really say. And that was a sick GTS that looked like the back of his head hit the steel steps. That was actually pretty cool. CM Punk 10-9 right now. That's, yeah. It looks like it's actually, I don't know, is it? Let me switch over my input real quick, see how much time is left. Should be about 30 or so minutes. And I know the screen probably froze. Yeah. Because I was switching my input. I'm sorry. I do apologize. Yeah, there's about 25 minutes left. But yeah, so to those that don't like the show, or those that just try to instigate problems, hey, you don't have to watch the show. I mean, if there's something I'm not interested in, then I don't watch it. It's just kind of the way it is. And I know some people thought I was going to talk about all the crazy stuff that happened, over the Christmas and New Year's and stuff. Unfortunately, that isn't really a primary concern for me, for the simple fact that, hey, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one, and that's just the way it is. I mean, I hope that someday, actually I don't hope this, because I was just talking to Melinda about this, but, unfortunately when people that do the hurtful and say the hurtful things, when they start having children, unfortunately, karma, they call it karma for a reason, because it does come around and it does bite you in the butt, and it's not good when it does. And unfortunately, their kid may get bullied or something in school, and I don't want to see any little kid get bullied, because that's no way to grow up, is to be getting bullied. So we're going to go into the next thing here. The next question was, who do you think will be the next big thing in TPP? We're going to kind of do this. I'm going to answer this off of a face and a heel type perspective, because there's really good, we have a very solid looking roster. And like I said, I mean, you guys won't know some of these people, but it is my goal as, the guy who runs TPP to help you understand who these people are. That is what TPP is all about. It's bringing you new people. Case in point, I'm not even going to use Arthur's as a reference anymore. Orion James, he couldn't get into these other leagues. He got into TPP, and now he's in a couple of other different places. Case in point. It's unfortunate I can't say the same about Michael Kelly. He said he left TPP for better opportunities, but I have yet to see those opportunities anywhere. But anyway, so let's see. Who will be the next big thing? This is a tough one. I think that it's going to be a very kind of niche kind of people will like certain people. I think that some people are going to like a certain Brazilian gentleman that we're going to be showing you guys. I should actually upload a video with him in it, because I don't think he was in the intro video. But he was very badass. I think that a lot of people are going to get behind. I'm going to throw this out there, but Cerebus, I think he's going to get some people behind him. He's a bad guy, but I think people are going to get behind him. I think that people are gonna be like, I really like this guy. He's a big dude, he's powerful, and hopefully people stay behind Scythe. Like he did really good as well. And then I think I'm hoping people get behind Jerry Graham again. That'd be nice. I don't know. It's just anybody that's on the roster can do great. It's all about their persistence and what they want to do to help the show really shine. And I'm sure that there's going to be some possible memes made about tonight's podcast. I'm sure that somebody's going to post a twit longer and talk, like try to find holes in what I'm saying or, whatever. I'm almost 100% sure that's going to happen. If it doesn't happen, I'll be surprised. But honestly, like when people say I have no life, but then they turn around and they're doing the exact same thing, it's kind of like if I'm the no life, then you're no life too. I'm not trying to make anybody upset. Don't take that the wrong way. I know people like to take stuff like that the wrong way. So, I don't know. It is what it is. I will say that, if TPP-wise, if you've been a TPP fan or somebody that watches the show, and this is something I've always wanted to say, because we've had times where we were only getting like 30, 40 views on a show, and then it'd pick up a little bit and go back down. It's like this. We have the best fans in the world. I have the best. The people that like my show are the best people ever. And you may be asking, well, why, if you're not getting, millions of dollars? Well, the fans that I have are the same fans that I've had for half a decade almost. We still have people. We have people that have followed us from SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 all the way up to 2K14. I mean, they don't miss a show. I've seen them subscribe to the channels. They message me on Xbox. They tweet me they direct message me on Twitter. They send questions to my Ask FM. Those are the best people to have in the world. I mean, they no matter what happens, they're always there. They're like, man, when's the next TPP show coming out? And that makes me feel really good because it's not every day that you get that kind of interaction with people. And so that's just, for me, that's just it's really nice. I really like it. And I don't expect people to fully understand what I'm saying for the simple fact that, it can be a little tough. I'm trying to refresh my my Ask FM here, but it's not updating the way it's supposed to. Okay. Best heel and best face in TPP at this moment. At this moment, the best heel would be Die Hard. All I got to do is speak, and people hate me. I say hi. People are like, fuck you, Die Hard. Wrestler-wise, probably Scythe, The best face, besides Craig Hazard, I would probably say, like, Junior or, Damien Gamer or somebody that was really, really over. Actually, you know what? The best face in TPP, as much as some people may not agree, Lance Owens. I mean, the dude was a jobber, but Jesus, everybody loved him on the streams. Like, if you never had the pleasure of being on a live stream, like before the Twitch chat started being all retarded, you missed it. Okay, like people were geeking out for Lance Owens, and he's just this jobber guy, complete jobber. But people liked him. And, that was really, really important because people really enjoyed him. And that in itself made me really happy because if you can get behind a jobber, imagine how easy it is to get behind somebody who's got some pull, And, so Lance Owens. I'm going to say Lance Owens. I love Owens. We all love Owens. But yeah, back to the viewers, those that watch the show. Like I said, they are some of the greatest people in the world. They have always been supportive, even when the chips were down. And like I said, they stick around. They don't run away. They're like, man, I've always been a fan of TPP. And so I'm going to continue to be a fan, regardless of what people think. I mean, it happened today even, just based off of just, my character alone, Die Hard. But it was very flattering, especially with everything that's been going on. I'm not gonna put that out there who it was, but man, that was really cool. So if you do watch this, man, thank you, because that made me feel really good. I may not have expressed it in the party, but that was really cool, and so thank you. It lifted my spirits greatly. Um, Other things, like I said, I may only get 100 views on my shows, but I would much rather have those 100 viewers consistently than have 1,000 viewers one time or a million views one time. Those 100 viewers, I know they're going to be there every time, and they're always going to, ask questions, or, that's one thing I've always strived to do in TPP is get people involved in the storyline, and I think that's something we do very well. I think that's probably my biggest crowning achievement is that, we really, really get people involved in the storylines, like to the point where they're like, man, I can't believe, I can't believe this and that. And it's just, I don't know, it's something I've always really enjoyed. And I mean, yeah, I guess it is an upgrade for TPP. We're having kind of a new additional writing. Like I said, we're working with some new people. I'm working with some new people this time around, and it'll be good fun for everyone. Good fun for everyone. That was actually kind of cool. Hey, that was Die Hard's old finisher, the DH plex, the leg hook suplex. But like I said, we're gonna be working with some new people, but we're also gonna be working with some people that I've worked with before. And the funny thing is, I could still do a show like offline, and I could still make a TPP. I could have people just voice over certain parts, but the real exciting part is when you do it online. You get to, deal with like lag, and you get to deal with red rings of death. You get to deal with overheating Xboxes, freezing consoles. You get to deal with all that crazy cool stuff. And at the end of the day, you're like, yeah, it sucked that we couldn't get, all 7 matches done, but we got 3 done. It's just, it's that feeling you get, because you're like, man, it sucks we didn't get the whole thing done, but we got most of it done. So, I don't know, it's just something about the online environment and connecting with people. You get to connect with people while you're doing the match and be like, oh man, we could do like this, backbreaker thing, make it look like it's on a chair, or we could do like the Daniel Bryan comeback and have me run up the steel chair, things like that. That's just, it makes it fun. It's a very fun environment. That's something I've always tried to have in TPP, was a very fun environment for, everybody involved. And, sometimes we've went at it with each other. It's just, that was a very nice suplex. That was actually good weapons physics on part for 2K14 there. That one actually looked like a legit suplex on the steps. But yeah, so I don't know. Like I said, we've always tried to have fun. We've went at it with each other. We've argued, kind of like family, Although we're a family that lives either across the ocean, in different states, all over the place. And I've heard it all. People have said, "Oh, your cause aren't creative enough, or they're too generic." Did anybody ever really stop to think that maybe some of those generic characters are meant to be generic? Maybe it's supposed to fall into that stereotype of the typical person you run into when you're playing online in a random match. Did you ever think of that? There's a reason why we never responded to any question like that. So, just food for thought. I'm not saying that's the case, but it could be. You'll just have to guess and wonder why. Let's see, what else? I got about 15 minutes left here. Then I'm gonna wrap up the stream. I wasn't planning on doing an hour, podcast, but kind of rolling now. My voice is coming back, feeling much better. What could I talk about? What to expect when you're expecting. Of course, we're gonna cut back over to the frontline image. For those that haven't been here, don't know, March 5th of 2000. Ooh, you just missed a GTS from CM Punk, by the way. March 5th of 2014 at 8 p.m. Eastern. Episode 1. It will be titled Episode 1. People may be going, but your last episode was episode 29, and it was Endgames. You're right, it was. But if you think back to like Christmas week, or the week of Christmas, we had our one dealio. We had the Christmas show. And technically we didn't label that with a number. So I guess that'll be our reset mark. That was episode 0000. And I loved my Christmas arena. It was awesome. But Frontline will be coming back March 5th. I know people have asked, how often is the show going to be uploaded, things like that. Like I said, I will let you know for sure before the 5th, but I can't tell you right now because I'm not 100% sure. Okay, I don't know if it's going to be weekly or not. Okay, so this is a good question. This is a kind of direct question. We're going to bring it back to the match while I answer this. But okay, so I won't say out your gamer tag, although you do have UTD in your gamer tag, which is pretty cool. I used to know some guys that were in a clan called UTD back in the day. But he says he's been watching TPP for the past few months. Shame it ended well. Lucky for you, it's coming back, in a couple of weeks. What is it that makes Hazard be the best TPP guy as the face, but yet there are so many main heels like Diehard Scythe, Bryson, mind you. James Mackay was a face, and he was actually in the middle of a push, and their pushes were happening, but what was it that made Hazard the best? Well, as much as weird as this may sound to some people, Hazard was one of those guys. I met him in FSCW back in 2011, like on WWE SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. And I met him from, it was like GameFAQs or IGN or something. He had responded to this posting on a forum from me and Nash because we were looking for some new guys that were, into the sim environment. And he was like, yeah, I'll check it out. And he came in with this kind of like Jeff Hardy hair, and he had these trunks or these pant shorts, those long shorts that he wore even in TPP recently. But he would wear those, and he had like the paint tool on the side and stuff. And I don't know, it's just something about him. We never gave him an opportunity or a push before 2013. We always, we didn't give him title. I didn't give him title matches, or if I gave him one, I was like, oh, hey, I need you to lose this title match. And then we had him win the Rumble. And at the Rumble, people got upset because Monroe didn't win it. And so when Monroe didn't win, it kind of undershadowed Hazard's Rumble win. And for me personally, I felt the only way I could make that up was by, Craig Hazard had to be the man. And he's amazing. Like his play style is so unique. It doesn't convey it as well or as much on video. But if you play him in a match, like you're like, oh shit, this Craig Hazard. He has a completely unorthodox play style compared to a lot of the other guys in TPP. He's very quick with his decisions. He knows what he's doing like 10 moves ahead, like he knows what's happening 10, he's looking into the future 10, 20 seconds ahead. And that's what makes Hazard the man. That's what makes him the best in TPP. It wasn't just, because I felt I needed to put the title on him. He always kept a positive attitude, even when things were at the lowest of the lows. He was like, you know what, Die Hard, you're a good dude, and you've always done me well, And unfortunately, I didn't always do him well because we should have put the title on him probably before, but we didn't. But yeah, so I guess that would be what, in my opinion, what makes Hazard the best. People were really supportive on the streams too. Even people would send messages, on Xbox. They're like, hey, what's Craig Hazard's gamer tag, or, how can I have a match against Hazard? People would ask me that, and I don't know, it's just something about him. With Scythe and Mackay, without spoiling too much, from previous. Even on 13, we ran out of life cycle time on 13. Otherwise, the Scythe and Mackay stuff would have probably been stretched out way more than it was. We got Scythe very late into what we were doing, and we also got Mackay very late into what we were doing. We didn't get Mackay until, I think, middle of August, maybe near the end of August. I mean, McNabb would remember, because their first interaction was Scythe being the masked man. That was the first interaction between Scythe and Mackay. And so, yeah, I mean, we would have definitely stretched their storyline further, but we ran out of life cycle time. And then we took the hiatus, and, some things happened that just, unfortunately, we didn't want them to happen, but they did. And, things kind of deterred and went opposing ways, and I'm hoping that we can rectify that with, this most recent iteration of Frontline. That's my main goal at this point. It's not that this is like sympathy Frontline or anything. It's just, for me, I just want to I enjoy the show. I like having the show. And Idiota, please answer. Well, the Idiota, like I was saying earlier, I'm assuming he just now got on the stream. I don't know. The Twitch chat has been really weird lately. So, but I answered this a little bit earlier about the tryouts. Unfortunately, if you weren't contacted by me directly, in regards to it, unfortunately at this time, as great of a tryout as you may have had, I really like the John Bishop character. I like Darkside Kicker's a really cool guy. I like I love it. I love the character, but at this time, I've already selected the people I wanted to work with, and hopefully sometime in the future, maybe we can entertain something. But just right now, it's just not really in the cards. But yeah, I would definitely, I'd flirt with that idea sometime in the future. I would definitely would, and I'm sure that some of the other TPP guys would too. And yeah, enjoyment is a very important thing. I mean, it's so important. I mean, and I've been talking about this the entire stream too. But when I make the show, like I said, I could do a show offline and probably have just as much fun. But there's like this exciting, like I said, there's like this excitement factor when you're playing online. A good example. I don't know if McNabb will be too happy about this. It was funny when it happened. It was during, I think it was at Endgames, or maybe it was Network Collision. I don't know. It was Network Collision or Endgames. It was Anthony Jr. and Jamie Hall. No. Oh, okay, so it was Endgames then. It was Jr. and Killswitch. Or was that his name? Killjoy was his name. Killjoy and Jr. were facing, I think, Porter and Atlas. And there was this outside dive spot, and it totally got botched. Like, it was like a hardcore botch. Like, I showed it on one of the podcasts, but it didn't do it justice. Like, we were in the party, and we were all just kind of like, oh yeah, hey, we're gonna do this outside dive type thing. Pull down the rope, and then quick jump down, and then I'll do the outside dive. And McNabb bum rushes it. Like, he bounces off the far rope. He does, I think it was a rope flip, where you grab the rope and you do the front flip. He did the rope flip through the announce table. So we all kind of just stood there for a second. We were like, well, I guess we'll have to, we'll have to go back and re-record, but oh, whoo. Okay, this is a good one. Okay, so I like this guy. He definitely he's followed the most recent stuff, so I might actually end up going over my hour. But now I feel like the gamer got ended too soon, but it was your decision to make. However, if you could choose to do that match again, would you change anything? Also in TPP, currently, who would be the best tag partner for you if Die Hard was wrestling? Cheating with a double Q, but oh well. All right. I'm going to answer your question in reverse order because the gamer part, I got to touch on that because it's a really good question. Who would be the best tag team partner for Die Hard if he was wrestling? Well, I did hold back on 2010 or maybe it's 2011. I think it was 2011. I held the tag team titles with Brick Wall for a while. I did a couple of tag matches with Jordan Moore. Devin's been my go-to tag team partner, and then James Braden in real life is actually my brother-in-law. It's just we have other people play as him. He doesn't actively play the games anymore. I would say Scythe, but that's just kind of like a cliche kind of cop-out. So in TCO, I would like to say Bryson. I could see it now if we did Die Hard, if Die Hard came back into the ring with Bryson as a tag team partner, because Bryson would be one of the last guys he trained, because the story to Bryson and Jerry Graham, originally Jerry Graham was in TCO. He got kicked out because Die Hard felt he wasn't up to par, but we billed him as the last guy Die Hard trained, which kind of made Die Hard's training look weak. Which led into the relaunch stuff where Die Hard versus Jerry Graham at Urban Warfare and all that crazy stuff. That was a good match too. That was a really great match. But yeah, so I would definitely say I'd say Bryson. Just because I don't want it to sound cliche. Because if it was Scythe and Die Hard, they'd be the tag team champions. And they both would have those egos, so it'd be like a conflicting kind of thing between them, which might be kind of good for the show. All right. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Bryson. But don't forget, I would also have Scythe as that tag team partner. Let's see here. Okay, now to the question about Gamer. Let me just check what this other new question was. Oh, before I get to that, Scythe says, or McNabb says that the table botch was not his fault, but it was. All right, so... Well, I would have Idiota as my partner too, but okay. So the Gamer Die Hard match, at a Network Collision. Here was the premise of that. We had this plan, and we were going when the idea was proposed to me, I wasn't gonna do it. The original thing was I said no. I wasn't gonna have Die Hard come out of retirement. I wasn't gonna have him do another match. He did the match with Jerry Graham. I was one a year, kind of like the Undertaker, and so. Sinister Smiles, that was Damian Gamer. He was hey, he's let's do this Gamer versus Die Hard stuff. Unfortunately, and I love Gamer like a brother, literally. He's my boy. I still talk to him on Facebook, and we had worked out this. We were gonna have Die Hard lose. The original stipulation was if Die Hard lost, then Damian Gamer would be the acting COO or CEO of TPP for 30 days, And then after that, we were going to do this whole TCO storyline thing with Gamer, and it was going to be fun. We were going to have a blast doing it. And unfortunately, at that time, he had just given birth to, or his fiance had just given birth to their baby, and so they were... He wasn't around a lot for a lot of stuff, and so I remember I sent him a message. I was hey man, we got to go forward with something on this storyline, and so we're gonna call an audible, and we're gonna have Die Hard win, and we made up that stipulation of Gamer's career would be over, but is anybody's career truly over? That's the question. Is anybody's career truly over? It's only over if you believe it's over, and so that was the premise of that. I love Gamer, he's my boy, and let's see. I will answer that question in just a moment. But Daniel Bryan won the Iron Man match, so I got just a few more minutes. But so I'm going to restart it for right now. But I just really, really wanted to continue on the Gamer thing. We all wanted to have Die Hard lose to Gamer. That was the plan. Die Hard was going to lose, but we had to call an audible. If I could redo that match, I would probably redo it in a heartbeat. It wasn't Gamer that played the match, but the person who did, he's on the stream now, he did amazing. He played up Gamer, like Gamer would play Gamer. Even even Sinister Smiles himself, said, hey, look, he did really good. And I was like, well, good, because he did. The person who played as gamer in that match did very, very good. And I think that was probably a very shining moment for me as Die Hard, because I got to show, like, this old man striking only kind of thing. Like, every grapple was a strike. It was great. But, okay, to really ask, what's your thoughts on El Mito, and what are your thoughts about Mito and Idiota being a tag team? They could be a good tag team. I think they could be a great tag team. I miss doing this podcast stuff. I forgot how much fun this was, just to get to answer questions. It was always fun. And just in case you're just joining us, as you're seeing on your screen, March 5th, 2014, live right here on this Twitch channel at 8 p.m. Eastern, Frontline will return. Boom, 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 boom. But yeah, so, excuse me. Damien Gamer, Die Hard, match number 2. Will it happen? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Would I like to see it happen? Most definitely. I think we'd have a blast on 14. Because what happened was when we did the match on 13, we had like 2 different glitches happen during the match, and we never had to edit them out because we just were able to keep it going, and nobody saw it happen. And it was great, because I don't know. Like I said, we just had fun. It was a load of fun, and that's always been the biggest thing for TPP. When you're doing a TPP match, it isn't about winning. It isn't about losing. It's about developing yourself. And we all know that Die Hard is hated. The Die Hard character is hated for some odd reason. I don't know why. I'm just the boss of the company. I own the company, but people just don't like me. They're like, we don't like Die Hard. And I'm like, okay. And I listened when people said that they didn't want to see Die Hard wrestling anymore. We retired him in 2000, at the end of 2011. In December of 2011, Die Hard officially retired out of in-ring action. And then we'd have him come back for periodic matches, here and there. And it's fun. It's always been about fun. And so when somebody says I'm a glory hog, I'm like, how am I being a glory hog? I don't know. But yeah, there's so many dream matches that I wish I could go back in time and make them happen again. And this is going to sound like I'm being a glory hog, but like Die Hard versus Bam Gamer at the first ever Collision, which was like our WrestleMania. We did that on SmackDown versus Raw 2010, and that match was so cool. Like, I had a blast, and the only person left in TPP that would have ever remembered him would be Devin, and that was just a really, really fun time for me, and it was really cool. I really liked it. It was for the TPP title, and everything was on the line, and he was this young kid, and at that time we were aging Die Hard a little bit, so it was a lot of fun. Some of my other favorite matches, probably my match with Jordan Moore. I had a couple of good ones with David Sivewright. And the best part is, like, if somebody's like, well, you never fought Scythe. Dude, I fought Scythe more times than anybody else. Because, when we were doing the show, if there was a match with Scythe against one of my characters, then you bet your ass I was playing it. Or else I was reffing it. I was in the match, playing it. That's the thing, and that's why I enjoy what I do. I enjoy keeping a smaller group of people, and then having them control multiple people, because it's easier. Because we get to interact and make these new setups, and unfortunately we don't have everybody we had before, but we have a large portion. Okay, so this guy's name is Phil, by the way. So everybody say hi, Phil. Hi, Phil. Yeah, he's enjoying the podcast, but anyways, will you and the other guy commentate that one show again? Also, why is it that Eagles are such a big deal in CAW? Come on, people, it's Xbox. Well, there was a couple of shows that I've done dual commentary on. I did dual commentary for MCW on the PS3 with Maverick, because I've known Maverick for a long time, since May of 2010, I think, somewhere in there. Unfortunately, MCW closed down. There was, on the PS3 side of stuff, there was a lot of stuff like, I don't want to say espionage, but that's kind of how they were like wording it. They were like, oh, it's espionage, and it was happening. and like people were like leaking storyline stuff to other leagues on the PS3. And I remember I was in the MCW chat and I was telling Maverick, I was like, look, man, I was like, whatever decision you decide to make, I'll be supportive because I'm your friend. And, he decided that it was easier for him to step away from the wrestling community, because he had people doing that type of stuff for 4.5 years. He had people constantly trying to, leak out things to a show, and people were like, oh, well, they're just now getting on YouTube. MCW had been, I think it was episode 164 that I did dual commentary on. They kept a weekly show. They didn't do it on YouTube. They did it on their forum, and they'd actually go and play the matches, and it was all scripted. I had a blast doing the commentary with Maverick. I mean, we were up really late doing it, but it was still hella fun. And then I've done commentary with Jordan. I've done dual commentary with Jordan Moore or Mr. Pac-Man. I've done dual commentary with Samararo. I've done dual commentary with Styles. I've done podcasts with McNabb. So I don't know. I've done a lot of different dual kind of things. But, that is something I can say. I can safely say this. There will be dual commentary on Frontline. It's somebody who's been waiting many, many years for this, ever since I started doing commentary on the shows. Did you just see that? CM Punk just elbowed the referee right in the face. That was great. But he's been waiting a long time, and now he gets his opportunity. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. Billings, of course, will be play-by-play, and he's probably going to be, the color commentator. But it's going to be a load of fun. I think you guys are really going to enjoy me and him, intertwining with each other. He's a very energetic type person, and I'm very monotonic. My voice is very, very mono. All right, so to get to the other part of your question, although it's kind of like a statement, I feel you. There's a lot of egos and stuff, and people tell you I have an ego. Would I be lying if I said I didn't? No, because I know I do. I can be a very pig-headed person, when I want to be, but I can also be a very easy-to-work-with guy. So, I don't know. The thing is, it gets to people's heads sometime. When you get a little bit of success, either it's going to help you do better or it's going to make you become a prick, an a-hole. Unfortunately, it's just the way it happens. People are always comparing one another to whoever, and it's just... I don't want to say it's society, but it's society. It's the way society is nowadays, and people lash out. Oh, I don't know. I guess Dark Side Kicker is Phil. I was hoping he wasn't. I thought Phil was an actual fan. You just broke my heart there, DSK. Now I'm very, very hurt there. But yeah, so, and I will say this. If there's anybody that doesn't like TPP right now watching, hey, like I said earlier, you don't have to watch the show if you don't like it. I mean, if the show is that bad to you, then just, skip that video. Go on to the next one. Or, send a friendly message, saying, hey, look, I noticed your commentary dropped down in volume, so you could probably fix that. Be supportive. But, unfortunately, it doesn't happen like that. So, but again, that's just the way life is. That's just the way life goes. But at this time, I'll stream for until 9:30, so about 15 more minutes. So if you got any more questions you want to ask, you got 15 minutes, and then I'm gonna end the stream because, like I said, I gotta be up kind of early tomorrow. I gotta take a neighbor somewhere. So, but yeah, I mean. If you don't like the show, just don't watch it. Oh, okay, maybe you aren't. I don't know. And I can't believe how much lag there is with Twitch now. Like, I said that a while ago. I don't know. Twitch used to be really good about only having like 3 seconds of delay. And now it's like 60 seconds, 30 seconds. It's pretty intense. But, the thing, here was a question I was asked. It was right on my Xbox, and it said, what happens when you run out of storyline ideas? And this was asked before, I think this was asked back in November or something like that. But, face idiota now, please. Nope, I'm not going to be playing any online matches. Man, CM Punk is beating the crap out of Daniel Bryan right now. But anyways, so what happens when you run out of ideas for storylines? Well, as much as we all want to say that we are originators of this or that, unfortunately, we're still taking old storylines and just envisioning them with our own little tweaks or twists and turns. That's how we do it. As much as people say that's not what they do, it is. Every possible wrestling storyline has pretty much been used and abused throughout the years by WWE, WCW, NWA, ECW, New Japan Pro. It's just a lot of stuff has been used throughout time, and my phone is like going crazy, and I love it. As I said, I'm not going to be playing any online matches right at this moment, but yeah. So what do you do when you run out of storylines? You look at the storylines you've done, or that have ran their course, and you either revisit it with a different outcome, or you try to revamp it and make it look totally different. Which I've been able to successfully do that a couple of times. We did it with the Die Hard and Style storyline, and we also did it with the Craig Hazard and James Braden storyline. We changed the outcomes, and we changed like the match stipulations. Like if you go back to July or June of 2011, and you look at I think it was episode. It's gonna sound weird right now, but it was like episode 30 or 29 through 41 on the Power Plant 2010 channel. That was the Styles and Die Hard storyline. And if you look back to recently with the Craig Hazard and James Braden stuff that happened this year, or this past year in 2013, that was episode, 19? Yeah, after episode 19 or 20 through 29. It's the exact same storyline, different characters, different matches. But they actually still ended with the same match. They both ended with a Hell in a Cell. So that was, we made it work. And honestly, I don't know which one worked better, because when I did it with Styles, he had these very angry voiceovers at me. And when I did it with Hazard, we didn't have such angry voiceovers, because with James Braden, unfortunately, the James Braden character does not match his voice. If you met James in real life, you would be like, oh my God, this guy sounds nothing like his character. And he doesn't, nothing at all. Like he just, look at that catch into the yes lock there. That was some beast stuff right there. Look at the computer spams those so much. Go ahead, give me your best shot. Are you making fun of my Ask FM thingy? Because that's what it says. It says, go ahead, give me your best shot. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's tricky. Because and I know the stream might be lagging a little bit right now. I had a lot of this hot air person like tweeting me. Or favoriting my tweets. But I think that let's see. Okay. Anyways, as I was saying, I think that the longer the show is around, that it's all good. It's all some good gravy stuff. But the more you persevere, the more you keep pushing, the better things will be, as time progresses. And on that note, we're going to cut back to the frontline image, because I love that image. It's such a pretty image. But, yeah, guys, so March 5th at 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on this Twitch channel. It will be live. And, okay, so one last question from Phil. I wish I had my Xbox back, but I'm now converted to PC. But anyways, when it comes to TPP, I know you may say Scythe or Mackay, but who do you think was the best upcoming COD that was actually put on the main card straight away? Also, who did the two best promos in recent TPP? The two best promos, huh? Okay. The best promo was probably, I want to say it was episode 27, and it was James Mackay. He said, if I suck so bad, then why was I offered a contract? That was, like, he did really, really good on it. It was amazing. It was a really good promo. So if you get the opportunity, go back and watch episode 27, and you'll understand why. Besides him, I'd have to say, because I don't want to say Die Hard voiceovers were the best, probably the Scythe promo, his first one, when he called the fans troglodytes. That was a good one. Like, I remember we were in the Skype call when I was recording it, and after the Skype call, we started busting up because we realized he had said troglodytes, and he's like, can we keep it? And I was like, yeah, we'll keep that. That was great. And so Scythe fans are troglodytes. Mackay fans are, whatever they want to be. They're Mackays. But Mackay had one of the best promos I've ever heard. There was such good delivery with it, and the emotion was there. So it was a really, really good promo. Let's see. Who do I think was the best upcoming person on the roster? If we're gonna do it like that, I would say Orion James. I mean, he came in, and he didn't expect people to get behind him, but people got behind him. So Orion James, he did really good on Frontline, and he had some things happen, so he had to drop the title. Like, he was like, hey, I got to drop the title, and we didn't want to take the title off him, but he wanted to drop it, so. But yeah, so he was probably the best, and Anderson had some promise, but unfortunately, at the same time, a lot of people weren't behind Anderson. Like, everybody was behind Orion James, everybody was behind the OJ Lock, and nobody was behind Anderson. And Anderson was supposed to be this heel, and Orion James was the face. That could have been a really good, build for those two. The top face of the Adrenaline division versus, like, the top heel of the Adrenaline division. But unfortunately, we never got to see that. So, but yeah, I would definitely say best promo is James Mackay or Scythe. They were really good at their stuff. And Mackay's takes the cake, and I think anybody who watches TPP would agree with that, especially from 27. There was such good delivery on that promo. When he came out, he was just like, if I suck so bad, then why did Die Hard offer me a contract? It was very direct, very personal, and you got chills listening to it. I got chills. Like, I'd listen to it on loop, and I'd just be like, ooh, I feel so cold. And then, the top upcoming guy would have been Orion James. And I hope Orion James the best in what he does. But, unfortunately, he isn't in TPP anymore. And like I said, McNabb, he did really good as Scythe when he did the whole troglodytes thing. That was a good one. I got a kick out of the troglodytes thing. I'm sure others did too. Like I said, we've always had fun when we were doing the voiceovers and stuff, and just the way it is. Always tried to have as much fun as we possibly could. But but all right, guys. So it is 9:21. I am gonna wrap up the stream because my voice keeps periodically cutting in and out. But for those of you that are ready for Frontline to return, mark your calendars, because in 2 weeks, exactly 2 weeks, Frontline returns right here on Twitch, and then it will be on YouTube as well. Oh, before I forget, it won't just be on the Frontline channel on YouTube. It's also going to be on my TPP 2K channel. So it will be on both of those channels, and of course we're going to stream it live, and hopefully we can just pick up where we left off, all that lovely interaction in the chat box, and hopefully you guys enjoy that HD quality commentary stuff, because I bring the heat when I bring the commentary. So all right, guys, I will catch you later. And stay tuned on my YouTube channel, because we're gonna have, like I said, I'm gonna let you guys know if it's gonna be weekly or whatever. I'm gonna let you guys know that before the 5th. So just keep it locked on the YouTube channel and all that good stuff, and I will catch you guys later.